It was New Year's Eve, and he hadn't seen his friend since high school a few years earlier. They went out drinking and eating, but there were still a few hours until midnight and the New Year. They were bored. Want to check out a ghost spot? Just like that, it was decided, and they went to visit the nearest place they could find. Genji Waterfall. A popular tourist attraction and, supposedly, the site of a tragic incident long ago. An incident that saw a young woman throw herself from the top of the waterfall, killing herself on the rocks below. It was a long path through the forest to reach the waterfall, and on the way, they passed a large collection of Jizo statues. He got the shivers. He remembered a story one of his friends told him about how his younger sister lost her scarf near the waterfall. On their way back, they found the scarf wrapped around one of the Jizo statues' necks. He turned away from them and pressed on. They started walking up some stairs, but they seemed to go on forever. Are we ever going to reach the top? It has to be soon, he thought, when suddenly his legs cramped up. He was a soccer player and exercised every day. There was no way it was due to lack of exercise. He fell to his side and screamed out to his friends. "My legs! They're cramping!" His friends turned to look at him, and his words chilled the blood in his veins. "It looks like something's pulling you." The young man panicked, but managed to drag himself to his feet. Pain spread throughout his legs like fire, but he did his best to ignore it. He didn't want to be there any longer. It wasn't right. There was something wrong about this place, and he wanted to get away as fast as possible, while he still could. The group of friends arrived at the waterfall, and on their way back, the clock struck midnight. It was the New Year. The pain in the young man's legs continued for several days after, but what worried him more than that was the sensation of something pulling him down to the ground. Located roughly 30 kilometers outside of Osaka City, Genji Waterfall can be found between the Kuraji Park and Katano City Animal Contact Park. The source of the waterfall is the Shirahata Pond in front of said park. Chosen as one of the 8 most beautiful sites in Katano and one of the top 100 greenest sites in Osaka, Genji Waterfall is overflowing with the beauty of nature and a popular hiking destination. While there is no public parking nearby, you can reach Genji Waterfall from Tsuda Station in about 25 minutes on foot. Standing at 18 meters tall, it's said you can enjoy all 4 seasons by the waterfall. On the walk up the mountain, you can enjoy the cherry blossoms during spring, the cool breeze during summer, the red leaves during autumn, and the snowfall during winter. Children often visit the area for school trips, and you can find tourists there all year round. Katano is said to be the birthplace of the Tanabata Star Festival myth, celebrated in Japan on July 7th each year. It is said to be the one day that literal star-crossed lovers Orihime and Kengu are able to meet over the Milky Way. A shrine dedicated to Orihime, Hatamono Shrine, can be found just a short distance away from Genji Waterfall. People come from all around to celebrate the festival, and Katano is said to receive over 700,000 tourists each year. So, how can such a bright and lively tourist attraction also function as a terrifying ghost spot? There have long been rumors that a child fell from the top of the waterfall and died. When night falls, the child's spirit can be seen wandering around the area. And, regardless of whether it's day or night, there have been multiple eyewitness reports over the years of hitodama, supernatural glowing lights said to be souls, around the waterfall. It's also a good spot to try to capture some ghost photography, as many people over the years have claimed to have captured spirits on film in the area, particularly in the toilets close to the waterfall. But there's another, much older story that has been passed down over the years that tells of how Genji Waterfall got its name. Long ago, in the village of Katano, there lived a beautiful young lady called Genji Hime. She lived together with her cute younger brother, Umechiyo. They were not blood relatives, but ever since a young age, they had been living together. Both children had lost their mother, and so found kinship with each other. There was a mountain on the border of Kawachi and Yamato called Mount Orochi, and on that mountain there lived a group of bandits. Every now and then, the bandits would come down from the mountains and pillage the nearby homes, running amok and doing whatever they liked. As the year was coming to an end, the bandits finally made their appearance in the village of Katano. They attacked Genji's residence, and, along with her brother Umechiyo, she was tied up and taken away. The subordinates informed their boss that they'd captured a beautiful young girl and a young boy. The boss, a beautiful woman in her 40s, told them to bring the pair at once. Yet, the boy was so shocked at the surprise attack that, when they brought him to her, he was already dead. The boss stared at the young boy, her complexion suddenly changing, and she told her subordinates to leave. As they moved to a different room, the boss quickly untied Genji and then cried over the lifeless body of Umechiyo. Genji was suspicious of the woman's strange actions, but seeing her cute brother dead, she could hold it in no longer. "Know that you are the enemy of my brother," Genji screamed. She sprang upon the woman with a short dagger and thrust it into her chest. But the woman did not resist her. Instead, she gripped Genji's hand, and as tears streamed down her face, she screamed, "Genji Hime, Umechiyo, please forgive me." Genji was astonished at such unexpected words from the mouth of her enemy. The boss then informed Genji that she was her real mother. When she was younger, she was married and gave birth to a daughter, but due to certain circumstances, she was forced to give the child up and leave. She later married again, this time giving birth to a young boy, Umechiyo, although she was once again forced to give the child up and leave. 18 years then passed, and her 2 children weighed heavily on her mind. Although she was a bandit, she wished just once to meet her children again. It was through a sad coincidence that today was that day, under unexpected circumstances that saw them dead and dying at each other's hands. While Genji and Umechiyo had only lived as pretend brother and sister, they were in fact children born to the same woman, the boss of the bandits. How sad Genji was, having killed her mother by her own hand. She cried over the bodies of her mother and younger brother, and unable to deal with what happened, she threw herself over a nearby waterfall. And so, Genji Hime followed her mother and brother into the afterlife. Close to the waterfall, there is a large rock called the Yonaki Ishi, or Crying Stone. Legend states that after Genji threw herself from the waterfall, people could hear her sobs coming from the stone, night after night. The area is now surrounded with stone Buddha statues to appease her spirit and help her move on, but still people continue to hear her cries as night falls. You can also find numerous statues of the Buddhist guardian Jizo at the bottom of the waterfall, as well as several rock towers. Jizo is said to guide spirits into the afterlife, especially children who die before they're able to build any karma in life. The spirits of children who die before their parents are said to be doomed to stack rocks on the shores of the Sanzu River each day to build karma, only to have demons come out of the river and knock them down each night. By building those rock stacks, it's thought to reduce the time needed for children to do so on the other side. Genji Waterfall and its surrounding areas are a particularly religious area, having once been a Buddhist training ground. It's also a prime example of Japan's gift of melding the old with the new. A mix of bittersweet fairy tale with haunting modern ghosts. But what did you guys think of this one? Are there any other haunted locations you'd like me to explore? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys again next time.